This episode of the Royal Ocean Film Society is brought to you by NordVPN. It took a lot longer than I think most people realize for what we now know as teen films to become a major staple of the industry. It wasn't until the 1950s when a string of juvenile delinquent films like Rebel Without a Cause and The Wild One began popping up that executives and producers began circling around teenagers as a viable and previously untapped market. And right in the middle of that were these guys. Exploitation kings Roger Corman, James Nicholson, and Sam Arkoff.
And that's why the arty-farties and the pseudo-intellectuals, who talk learnedly about what in the hell the picture means and what in the hell the creator meant, and all of this auteur bullshit, that's just nonsense.
Who started the B-movie factory, American International Pictures, to tap into that market. The JD films of the 50s may have introduced the idea of teen-centric films, but the boys at AIP were the ones who blew it up. And they did so by kickstarting one of the oddest but perhaps most fun subgenres in all of cinema history, the beach party films. You can love them for their glorious campy fun, hate them for their ineptitude, or just be confused by them. But like it or not, AIP's 7-film run of beach party titles and the resulting genre that sprang forth from competing studios throughout the mid-1960s was and still is a touchstone of Hollywood's constantly evolving market trends. See, this wasn't the world of James Dean and Marlon Brando. These weren't films about finding your identity or battling through teenage angst, and they didn't feature characters with names like Holden Caulfield. For all intents and purposes, these weren't really films about teenagers so much as they were films sold to teenagers. Stop me if this starts to sound familiar. AIP rested the weight of their development strategy upon what later came to be known as the Peter Pan syndrome, which goes like this. A younger child will watch anything an older child will watch. B, an older child will not watch anything a younger child will watch. C, a girl will watch anything a boy will watch. And D, a boy will not watch anything a girl will watch. Therefore, to catch your greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male. And this is how they caught that audience. AIP's typical method began with creating a great title, hiring an artist to design an eye-catching poster, using both of those elements to raise the necessary cash, and only then sitting down to write the actual script. Want to make a teen film? Easy. You put together a comedy filled with popular music, romance, a celebrity cameo, and you center it all around a marketable trend. And what just so happened to be popular in the early 60s was surf culture. AIP took the beach setting from genre precursors Gidget and Where the Boys Are, but left behind any signs of parental characters or moral lessons, and crafted a film about teen escapism taken to an overwhelmingly ridiculous level. Adults were stupid and lame, sex was innocent, and the world was a playground.
Today's teenager, true subculture. Youth of today leaves no hope for tomorrow. Yesterday, in broad daylight in a place illegally called Bikini Beach, we were witness to scenes of wild perversion and abandonment that defied description.
A near total contrast to the actual world the teens in the audience lived in. I mean, geez, these were the middle 60s after all.
President Kennedy died.
50,000 marchers.
I have a dream.
Mass draft card burning.
I'm experimental.
But there's nothing wrong with just sex for sex.
And the result was such a massive smash hit that exactly what you'd expect to happen happened. Not only did everyone and their grandma rush in for a piece of the pie, but AIP themselves bled the genre dry, shoving out 6 sequels in less than 4 years, by pretty much making the exact same film over and over again. This is the formula of the beach party films.
Surf's up! Surf's up!
Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello play generic love interests named Frankie and Dee Dee, except Dee Dee's called Dolores and Connie in various entries. They arrive at the beach with a bunch of good-looking friends for a vacation of surf and sun, but end up spending the majority of their time arguing and going through a standard will they won't they subplot that really kinda gets old by the 5th film in the series.
Where'd I go wrong?
There's always an outsider character who disrupts the group's setting, usually an adult who's trying to infiltrate the teens to study their antics, overthrow them, or just sell them something. Sometimes the outsider character teams up with a local biker gang, sometimes they don't. Oh yeah, there's a local biker gang that hangs around and gets into a slapstick-heavy fistfight with the teens at the climax of every movie.
Your shoelaces untied.
There's a cameo by a major star, tons of obvious rear projection, aggressive cross-promotion of future AIP films in the end credits.
American International will snap it up in a minute.
Annette sings a solo about her relationship problems.
Treat him nicely. Boy means for girl. This time it's love.
And you really can't help but feel for her because in all honesty, Frankie's a bit of a scuzzball.
You still have me.
I also have a girl back home.
A popular artist like Dick Dale or Stevie Wonder makes an appearance, and in the latter 6 entries, there's always an additional shoehorned-in plot element based around something as equally marketable as surf culture. Muscle Beach Party goes after the Santa Monica weightlifting scene, Bikini Beach has a pop star in the mold of John Lennon because it was the height of the British invasion, Beach Blanket Bingo has nothing to do with bingo or blankets, but it does have a lot of skydiving and a mermaid named Lorelei, and Ghost in the Invisible Bikini... Sorry. There's an actual movie called Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. This is real. That's amazing. You get the point. These guys were hucksters who knew their audience better than they knew themselves, and embraced not only the fact that pop culture interests and trends are fleeting things, but that teenagers were beginning to lead the pack responsible for those trends. Louis M. Hayward, the writer of Pajama Party. These youngsters have the numbers, the buying power, and the discrimination to make or break any film product. Which is, of course, exactly what happened. By 1967, the overstuffed beach party genre had run its course, and the last handful of entries proved massively disappointing at the box office. And the final film of the genre released was Crown International Pictures' Catalina Caper. After 30-plus films in less than 5 years, the market moved on, this time to an even more ridiculous series of outlaw racing films.
I'm a racing son of a gun. I'm the fastest under the sun. Fireball 500.
So why are they worth remembering? Because these kids rule the market, and because this is one of the places where it all started. And because market trends evolve, but Hollywood's business practices rarely do. How many times have we seen studios rush in for a piece of the pie when some random subgenre hits it big? Case in point, after Twilight's success in 2008, everybody scrambled to grab real estate inside that dystopian, sci-fi, fantasy, YA novel adaptation, whatever you want to call it, subgenre. The methods of a company like AIP may now seem thoroughly antiquated, but countless franchises since the 60s have clung to cookie-cutter storytelling formulas, and the conclusion of the Peter Pan syndrome is still arguably one of the guiding principles behind what does and what doesn't get greenlit. The only difference is how obvious a studio can be about all of it. But that doesn't mean that any of it can't be fun, because it's not evil. It's just Hollywood.
Hey, Mr. Sun, come on and shine. Hey, Mr. Sun, it's party time. We're feeling great, yeah, we're feeling.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. This episode of the Royal Ocean Film Society is brought to you by NordVPN. If you care about your online security and privacy like I do, you should absolutely consider using a VPN, or virtual private network. Similar to the way that a firewall protects the data on your computer, a VPN protects your data online by allowing you to connect remotely, thus keeping your IP address and private information hidden and safe. If you've ever had any kind of hacking scare in the past, or even if you're just like me and you do a tremendous amount of work at coffee shops and cafes and libraries, having a VPN is that invaluable extra layer of protection and security. And NordVPN is far and away the most trusted security provider that's out there. Right now, they're offering an incredible deal, 77% off of 3-year plans. If you're interested in signing up and bringing back a sense of ease while you're on the internet, you can go to nordvpn.com/RoyalOceanFilm, or you can use the code RoyalOceanFilm when you're at checkout. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.